All right, folks. Thanks for checking out the video. I wanted to talk a little bit about the latest in the ongoing feud between Steven Crowder and the Daily Wire. Now, as you know, recently Steven Crowder made a video calling out what he referred to as Big Con, referring to a contract proposal that he received, or a term sheet that he received, from an unnamed conservative media organization that we eventually found out was from the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire has refuted some of the claims made by Steven Crowder and said that what they made in their offer to him was very fair. Now, tonight, on January 23rd, 2023, Steven Crowder appeared on Timcast IRL with Tim Pool and his crew. So he was on there for the entirety of the episode. It did big numbers. Tim Pool was inundated with super chats, and I think at one point they had close to like 170,000 people concurrently watching the stream. So it did very well, which shows Steven Crowder does move the needle. Now there wasn't a lot of new ground covered on it. There were some things that I want to talk about. So I'm going to play a couple clips here, and then we'll go ahead and talk about them. So here's one from Steven Crowder's appearance.
Did bring you to the basketball court.
You did.
Yeah,
I made
so-
the VIP up the half pipe. Yeah, I would
right.
agree with you. Here's the problem. When you have a few, because it's, again, this is not about the Daily Wire. There are a few key companies that control what is permissible in this movement. And these few key companies are saying, this is the only way. I'm saying there could be many ways. It would be one thing if we're saying, hey, maybe this way, maybe this other way. But now this sort of reeks of, why don't you go and create your own YouTube? Why don't you go and create your own? Find billionaire investors to give you seed money.
Yep.
Well, how do you do that when then, this happens a lot, ideas are stolen, and then millions pumped behind it to promote it as though it seems original, and then they steal your talent, who you foster. You've probably had this happen. I've had.
Okay, so in this clip, Steven Crowder basically tries to insinuate that there's a few large companies, obviously the Daily Wire being one of them. He's probably referring to the Blaze as well, who he says control what's permissible, I guess, in the conservative online sphere. Now, I completely disagree with that. These companies are obviously able to run their companies as they see fit. They're able to have editorial control over what gets put out under their names. But there's a ton of other conservative commentators that are not affiliated with any of those organizations that are free to speak out in any way that they see fit on what they see fit. So I'm not really sure why he would say that. He's an independent voice himself. So I don't know why he seems to think that everyone that wants to make a name for themselves has to be affiliated with one of these organizations. Now, Steven Crowder himself has always been an employee. He's never fully been independent. Since he's really been on the scene, he's always been attached to. It was CRTV, and then it was the Blaze, and then before that it was PJ Media. I know at one point he was an official contributor to Fox News. So, maybe this is the time where he does go fully independent, and that's what he's looking to do. Now, another interesting thing that I saw was Steven Crowder, for the first time that I'm aware of, was asked about a former employee of his former producer, Jared Monroe, better known as Not Gay Jared, who departed the Steven Crowder show, I believe in August of 2018. At the time, we were told that Jared left, on his own, which he says he did, but we never got a real reason as to why he did. So Steven Crowder was asked about that, and also about making Jared sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. So this is what Steven had to say about that.
I wanted to ask 2 quick questions for you guys. One, would you guys be open to doing like competitions or contests for new talent? And a lot of people are asking about Not Gay Jared in the comment section. Can you guys clear up what's happening in that situation? Some people are saying that there's an NDA.
Yeah, well, that's the thing I think Candace brought up, right? Again, there's a difference between roping in third parties versus single party consent. I think he tweeted out what happened, where he left, right? Not Gay Jared. He tweeted out that he left. It was his own decision. We did a whole send-off with him in a video montage. You know, this works with like conspiracies. And sometimes, look, there's also a middle ground where there's, for example, like, what is the email, by the way, if people are talking about shows?
I think it's creators and creators allowed. So that's actually not a bad idea. Contest, if we, but the reason I didn't want to do it is because I didn't want.
Or lacks integrity. Name one creator.
Let's see.
Tell people where the studio is too.
Yeah.
I mean,
we have
you guys have had that.
Of course.
Everyone just like here, I had to sign a waiver when I came.
Yeah.
If you come into our studio,
I mean, it's standard business practice.
Yeah,
it's
you
a standard thing.
can't come in. You can't come in and tell people where the studio is too.
Yeah.
I mean,
We have
I mean, you guys have had
Yeah,
that.
of course.
Yeah,
If only for location, it would be worth it.
yeah. Also because he walks around without pants half the time.
Let me read this one from Mason's mama. Tim is not asking the hard questions. Crowder lacks integrity. Name one creator Crowder launched. He has done the exact opposite. Not Gay Jared, Sven.
Yeah, they were on the show early on. We've had plenty of people who work on the show and then move on. That happens across the board. I mean, I'm not. Again, you don't have. We used to talk about this. We used to have pride in like this super high retention rate, where no one would leave. But then we realized that like people sometimes it doesn't. It's just not always the right fit, and people can go on.
All right, so he does say that Not Gay Jared did have to sign an NDA when he left the show. So we can't really get his full story on why he left. So we can only speculate on that. But it's interesting how when it comes to something like an NDA, Steven Crowder says, "Oh, well, that's just standard business practice. There's nothing to see there." But yet, when he's negotiating with the Daily Wire, and they say, "Oh, well, these certain stipulations are standard business practice," oh, he has a problem with that. So when it's something he likes, it's okay. When it's something he doesn't like, then he has a problem with that. So I thought that was very interesting, and also that was a good point that somebody whoever sent that question in about who has Steven Crowder helped launch in the movement. There really isn't anybody. So he's trying to white knight for claiming that he's taking a stand to help young up and coming people in the conservative movement when he's never really done anything to help anybody himself, despite having a major platform, a big name, and just plenty of opportunities to give other people a chance. But his show's all about him. So very interesting there. Very interesting. We haven't heard a whole lot more from the folks at the Daily Wire, particularly Jeremy Boring. We heard from him. We heard from Ben Shapiro. And we heard from Candace Owens, who was also on with Tim Pool. So very interesting here. I do hope this really does blow over sooner rather than later. It's just better for everybody. Hopefully, Steven Crowder. I still support Steven Crowder. I don't have a big problem with him, but this is something that's going on, and we have to address it. We have to talk about it. And another thing that I thought of is also Steven Crowder was presented with his offer from the Daily Wire back in October, and he had Jeremy Boring on his election night live stream. So if he had this big problem with Jeremy Boring, why did he have him on his live stream only a month later to record a phone call with him and then register a domain saying "Stop Big Con," referring to the Daily Wire, and then it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I like Steven Crowder. I expect better from him. So let me know what you all think. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.